Hello, boys and girls. We are still in Unit 2, Order of Operations, and our lesson today is about Order of Operations, or what we call PEMDAS. And our learning target for today says, I can evaluate expressions with the order of operations. Here are some vocabulary words for us to know. Our first one is numerical expressions. So these are just mathematical phrases that involve numbers and operations. So it's just going to be things like 4 times 2 or 10 plus 7 minus 3. Okay. Our next one is order of operations. So this is the order that we use to solve numerical expressions in math. We have to follow a certain order. And then our next vocab word is grouping symbols. And here are some of the grouping symbols. We have parentheses, brackets, braces, fraction, so like a fraction bar, and a square root symbol, okay? So those are just some different grouping symbols that we use here in math when we're doing order of operations. There's a couple different ways that you can remember the order of operations. So PEMDAS, we will go through here what they each stand for. The P stands for our parentheses, or different ways of doing our grouping symbols. E stands for exponents. M is for multiply. D is for divide. A is for addition, and S is for subtraction. So that's the order that we use to solve our numerical expressions. We start with the parentheses, solve anything inside the parentheses, then we move to our exponents, solve our exponents, then multiplication and division, and then addition and subtraction. Here's another way to look at it. So I would make sure to copy one of these down, either this one or the one on the last page. Order of operations, there's this little saying here that we can use to remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So we take the first letter and that tells us what we are what mathematical operation we are doing. So the P stands for parentheses, so we start with everything inside the parentheses. Then again, like I said, we move on to our E, our exponents. Then with multiplication and division, these ones we do in order from left to right. So we start with the multiplication or the division that's farthest to the left in our expression, and then we move to the right. And then same with addition and subtraction. We work left to right with that. There's also a little box here. Order of operations. First, evaluate the expressions inside grouping symbols. Next, it says evaluate all powers. 3, multiply and divide in order from left to right, and 4, add or subtract in order from left to right. So like I said, one of those 3 I would make sure to copy down in my notes, whichever one is going to be easiest for me to remember. So let's take a look at what exactly that means. So we are using the order of operations to evaluate this expression. 5 plus, in parentheses, 12 minus 3. And it says justify each step, so that's following those order of operations. So with our order of operations, PEMDAS says that we start with the P for parentheses. So we do everything inside the parentheses. So I'm going to copy down my 5. Well, 12 minus 3 is 9. Okay, I'm just going to make a note over here. That's our parentheses. Then we move on to E, our exponents. There are no exponents, so we can skip it. Then multiplication or division. We don't have either of those, so we move on to addition or subtraction. Okay, well, 5 plus 9 is 14, so we have a final answer of 14. Okay, next one, 8 minus 3 times 2 plus 7. Okay, again, we have to follow order of operations. Start with parentheses. There are no parentheses. Next, we move on to exponents. There are no exponents. Then we move on to multiplication and division. Well, we've got multiplication right here. 3 times 2 is 6. Now we copy down the rest of the things, the 8. So 8 now minus 6 plus 7. So that was our multiplication. Now our next step says addition or subtraction, and we do that from left to right. So we start with our farthest to the left, which is our 8 minus 6. Well, 8 minus 6 is 2. 2 plus 7. Okay, 2 plus 7 is 9. So we have a final answer of 9. Okay, again, all we are doing is following that order of operations for our PEMDAS. Okay. All right, try these on your own. We will go through them together here in a second. Okay. All right, again, PEMDAS says we start with parentheses. So in our parentheses, we have 9 plus 4, which is 13. Okay. Now we carry down our 39. So we take 39 divided by 13. And we know that that is 3. So we have a final answer of 3. Okay. Again, next one, order of operations, 10 plus 8 divided by 2 minus 6. We'll start with our parentheses, we don't have any. So then we move on to exponents. Again, we do not have any. So then we move on to multiplication or division, left to right. We do not have any multiplication, so we do our division. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Carry down the rest of our numbers from our original expression. So now we have 10 plus 4 minus 6. Then we move on to addition and subtraction, and we work left to right again. So 10 plus 4, starting farthest to the left, is 14. Carry down our minus 6 from above. 14 minus 6 is 8, and that is our final answer. Some more here for us to try. This time we have 5 times 3 to the power of 2 minus 7. So our order of operations, say we start with parentheses. We do not have any parentheses, so we move on to exponents. Well, 3 to the power of 2, that is saying 3 times 3. Okay, 3 times itself 2 times. So 3 times 3 is 9. Carry down the rest of our expression. So 5 now times 9 minus 7. Our next is multiplication or division, working left to right. We have multiplication here, so 5 times 9, which is 45. Okay, again, we carry down the rest of our expression. And then next, our steps are addition and subtraction, working left to right. So we have 45 minus 7, which is 38. And that is our final answer. Okay, try these on your own and then come back and check with me after you are done. Okay. Okay, our next one here, 3 times 10 to the power of 4. Start with parentheses, we don't have any. Move on to our exponents. We have 10 to the power of 4, which is saying 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. Okay? Now, with this, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So our final answer is going to have 4 zeros. Carry down our 3. 3 times 10,000 is going to be 30,000. Okay, we don't have any more steps to do, so that is our final answer to this expression. Okay, next, in parentheses, 5 minus 1, and all of that is raised to the power of 3, and then divided by 4. So we start with our order of operations, which is our P for parentheses. So we do what is inside the parentheses, which is 5 minus 1. Well, 5 minus 1 is 4. I'm going to copy down the rest of my expression. Next is our exponents. Alright. 4 to the power of 3 is saying 4 times 4 times 4. So 4 times itself, 3 times over, which is 64. And we are taking that and we are dividing it by 4. Our next step in our order of operations says multiplication or division. So we have division here. 64 divided by 4 is going to give us an answer of 16. Next, 14 plus 3, and we are multiplying that by 7 minus 2. Order of operations, parentheses, 7 minus 2 is 5. Carry down the rest of our expression. Now, when there's a number 3 right in front of the parentheses like that, it doesn't show it, but there is a multiplication symbol, so we are multiplying that. Okay, so our next step would be exponents. We don't have any exponents. So now we move on to multiplication and division. Well, like I said, there is that multiplication symbol right there. It doesn't show it, but since it's attached like that, we know it means to multiply. So we have 14 plus 3 times 5, which is 15. And then our next step is addition and subtraction. Well, 14 plus 15 equals 29. All right, last one here, 6 plus 8 divided by 2 plus 2 times our parentheses of 3 minus 1. Order of operations, here we go. Start with our parentheses. 3 minus 1 is 2. And I'm going to copy down exactly what I have up above of everything else that's left. Okay, I'm going to copy it down exactly. Okay. Next says exponents. We don't have any exponents, so we move on to multiplication and division left to right. Well, we have a division symbol here, and we have multiplication here. Again, it's not shown, but we know it's attached, so that means to multiply. Well, order of operations says that we work left to right, which means that in this case we start with our division. Our 8 divided by 2, which is 4. Okay, I'm going to copy down my 6 plus. Then I have plus. Now we're moving left to right. Now we're on to our multiplication of 2 times 2, which is 4. Now our next step, addition or subtraction. Well, working left to right, 6 plus 4 is 10. Carry down my next 4. 10 plus 4 is 14. It is very important to make sure that you keep your numbers, that you copy them down well so that you do not lose track of any numbers in between steps. Alright, here we have a word problem. It says applying order of operations to word problems. So first we need to go through and read the problem. It says, Juan goes to the school book fair where paperback books are $1.50 and hardcover books are $3. Juan buys 5 paperback and 2 hardcover books. Write a numerical expression to find out how much Juan paid and then solve the expression. So first step, write a numerical expression. Okay, that just means basically write a math sentence. Okay, so let's see. First of all, he bought 5 paperbacks. Okay, so I'm going to write down 5 for my paperbacks. And each paperback was $1.50. Okay, now I know in order to figure out how much they cost, if he's buying 5 of them, I'm basically adding $1.50 5 times over, or I am multiplying 5 times $1.50. Okay, and we are adding. He bought 2 hardcover, and hardcovers are $3. So we're taking the 2 hardcovers that he bought and we're multiplying it by 3 for the price of each hardcover book that he bought. Okay, now we follow our order of operations. We take 5 times $1.50. Now on here, if you needed to go and do our multiplying decimals that we did last time, or that we from last unit, that would be a great idea. 5 times $1.50 is $7.50. Again, I'm just working left to right on my multiplication. 2 times 3 is 6. I'm just keeping all of my decimal points in there so they line up well. Okay, now our next step is to add them. $7.50 plus $6 is going to give me a total of $13.50. Put my dollar sign out in front to make sure that we have our label on there. And that is our final answer. So that is how much Juan bought at the school book fair. Don't forget, you can always go back and re-watch this video or the other two math teachers' videos. You can also go to the book and read the examples that are shown in there. And you can also go and watch the personal tutorial videos in the resources of the online textbook. Now you're going to go and take your NICU quiz. Make sure that you took really good notes throughout this lesson and that you come to class tomorrow with questions. Have a good rest of your night.